Now you can say you know how.
Yeah, wow. Well, I don't know if that'd go that far. I can say that I've done it.
Yeah, you've been directed. Is there any way to get a little bit more light and like on this? I guess it would be to your left.
To my left, light to my left. Yes, can you hang on just a second?
Yeah.
Oops. How's that? Is that better?
Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Yeah, so we'll just talk for about 10 minutes or so, and this isn't live. We'll edit this down to like the best 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll run it when the bidder season comes out.
All right, super.
That sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
So, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Okay. So at this point, are you sort of one of those, one a year thriller writers where, you're expected to come out with a new one every year?
Yeah, they like to have a book a year. It takes me a while to write a book, so we get a little stretch here and there. That's the business aspect. There's art meeting business. Writing is an art, publishing is a business. The two don't always agree with one another, but that's what the boss likes, is a book a year.
Yeah, and so writer's block is just not a luxury you can afford, right?
Pardon me? Are you breaking up a little bit on me?
Writer's block is just not something you can indulge in, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something that we all deal with from time to time, but you have to find a way to bust through it, work around it. Hope and pray to the writing gods that that idea is going to break through and you can move on.
Right. And so, do you have a solution? Do you just keep writing?
No. Yeah. I have different ways of dealing with writer's block. Initially, it's you can't indulge. Yeah, like you said, you can't indulge in that. You can't say, "Oh my, I'm blocked today." No, I mean, if I legitimately hit a spot in the book where I think I've taken a wrong turn. I just don't know. I can't see what's supposed to happen next, and I've struggled with it for really made a game effort to break through it. Sometimes I need to get up and walk away and go ride a horse or go punch a punching bag, or the things that I do that let my subconscious kind of go off by itself while I do other pursuits.
Yeah. And so you live in beautiful Florida, but the setting for this new one is kind of harsh, cold Minneapolis, right?
Right.
Yeah. So tell me what a setting like that. I mean, I guess why you chose it and what because it seems like in this novel the setting is almost a character in and of itself, and what does it bring to the book?
Well, I grew up in Minnesota, so I have that background, and I know that the weather is really very much a character of living there. It's something you have to deal with on a daily basis, and it can be harsh and terrible and complicate everything. Just the daily existence of living in the winter in Minnesota is so much more complicated than living in Florida. I throw on my flip-flops and sunglasses and I'm out the door, and I go home to visit family, and it's, you've got to put on the socks and the boots and the, layers and layers. And if it's cold enough, you better take something, sleeping bag, so if your car goes off the road, you don't die. It's a whole other existence in that kind of weather.
Yeah. And so Kovac, I mean, he's somebody you've written about before.
Yeah.
And your other characters in this one you've written about before. But I mean, what is that like for you to kind of take a break from them and return? I mean, is it easy to pick them back up, or what's that like for
You
you?
know, it really is, because I've been writing about Kobach and Liska. They actually started out as secondary characters in a book, Ashes to Ashes, which was, I couldn't even tell you the year now. It was, the 90s, the late 90s, I think, was the first book where they appeared. Um, and I didn't think they were going to even be that important to the story, and they grew, they became more important to the plot. I became more interested in who they were. They have very interesting dialogue between them, and I'm like, oh, these are fun characters. I think I want to go on and do a book featuring them. And now I think this is maybe the fifth book with Kobach and Liska. And now it's like visiting old friends. It really is. You walk back into the conversation that you just pick up that conversation from a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, but Kovacs, I mean, well, both of them are really pretty tough, hard people. I mean, is it you have to do something to get into that character mindset, or?
They're the kind of people I like to hang out with. I really, so it's like walking into my corner bar or whatever. There is no corner bar in Florida, but it's like I go hang out with my friends, and we talk about tough things, and we've got a kind of twisted sense of humor, and it really isn't hard for me to get into their mindset. I just sort of fall into it. I don't know what that says about me. I'm a tough chick to hang out with. That's what.
Right. But maybe Minnesota breeds more of that kind of tough person than Florida, right?
Yeah, we're hardy. We are. We're strong and hardy and resilient and all of that. Yeah, stoic also. Yeah.
Right. So there's this nice board behind you. Is that like, do you use that to plot out?
I do. I've got about 6 feet of whiteboard behind me, which I thought would probably glare into the camera, so I put all kinds of stuff on it. But yeah, I do a lot of brainstorming. I don't write from an outline. That doesn't work for me. But I do a lot of brainstorming, so I like that space to, I've got something going over on this end of the board. What's going on with this character and in this part of the storyline, and I've got lots of room to maneuver on there.
It's more like keeping the logic of the plot together.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And so, I mean, at this point, do you even need to do events? Do you go out and do bookstore events or book festivals, or?
I don't do a lot of conferences and festivals like I used to. It's just a time thing more than anything. I need to be working. And, so I don't get to a lot of those things that I used to, although I was invited, I've been invited to be a featured speaker at the Writers Police Academy this coming summer, which I am so excited about. It's all law enforcement people talking to writers to get the realism in their books, so that's good. To that. But, I still do signings, and, I'm going to go on a short tour for Bitter Season. I'll be out next week. I go out to Houston, Atlanta, Phoenix, back to Minnesota, do the hometown crowd there, and then I'll do a week in Florida as well. So
nice. And so, I mean, by now you definitely have readers who are fans. They follow your every book. I'm curious, with your kind of career, like, do you hear from them, and do they ever give you feedback, and do they give you ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. Because Facebook is my social media of choice. That's the thing I can do well and interact with fans on there. I'm not a good Twitter person. I haven't really got the hang of Twitter, but Facebook I can do. It's a little more manageable for me. So I hear from fans all the time. They message me on Facebook and, talk about the characters they like. Am I going to write about this set of characters again, or that set of characters, or whatever happened to this character from, everybody wants to know what happened to the little boy from Deeper Than the Dead a few years ago. He you don't know what happens to him at the end of the book. And so I get a fair amount of interaction that way.
Yeah. And do they ever tell you what they want to see happen next to a character?
Oh, sometimes. Yeah. Oh, sometimes. Yeah. Sure. They're like, oh, when is Sam ever going to get a girlfriend? Or, what get rid of Nikki's ex-husband? And why can't she, she needs to, they come up with all kinds of ideas. It's fun. It's fun to see what they want to know, and characters that haven't written about in many, many years, that were a single book many years ago. Well, whatever happened with those characters, and what are they doing? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen them for a while. It's fun. It's sweet. I like that. I like that they feel that connected. Like they're friends.
Yeah. But is it tricky to negotiate that? Your readers' desires and ideas versus your need as a writer to kind of listen to your own imagination?
Well, I separate the two things really. When I sit down to write, when I sit down to create a book, none of that is in my head at all. This is what's being presented, to me, wherever ideas come from. The universe is saying, here's what you might want to explore next. And that's my focus, and it's me and the story. And I don't think, well, what if this faction of readers, oh, I better bring this in for them, or these people don't like this or that. No, some people don't like violence and other people don't like bad language. And, I can't let that, I don't think a writer can let those kind of things influence what they do. Do what you do. And then hopefully, some people will love it, some people will like it, some people won't. And that's just how it is, and I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of people who like what I do,
Yeah. Yeah, you have to listen to your own mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks. This is great. This gives us a lot to work with. So you have now officially passed this internet test.
Thank you. I wow. Like being in a science fiction movie. I'm so not good at this stuff, but I'm very proud I actually made this happen with crashing the whole system.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, you have a good day, and we'll get this ready.
All right, great. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.